In my last two videos, I demonstrated how to rectify bent or twisted hairsprings. We didn't really pay much attention to the alignment of the spring when replacing it onto the balance wheel. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how I do that. Now, if you look carefully, you'll see that the impulse jewel of the balance is in the wrong position. Now, the correct position, you should be able to look down the center of the banking pins for the pallets, and you should see the jewel between the two pins. Obviously, in this case it isn't, and so the hairspring has been put on to the balance wheel without much thought, because it's way out of place. So, as we did in the last two videos, I'm just going to strip the balance wheel away from the cock, and I'll be taking the balance spring off the balance wheel, just so that I can demonstrate to you how I line this up. Now here's the banking pins, and what we want is for the impulse jewel obviously to rest somewhere in between, and we can fine tune it later, because to be aligned properly it needs to rest in the middle of the two banking pins. So in order to line this up, I'm just going to put the balance cock in situ on top of the balance wheel. Now bear in mind, I've lined up the impulse jewel with the banking pins in the middle, and as you can see, if I just lay the spring on top of the cock, you can see where the stud should rest. And here's the stud screw, and that's where we need to line the stud up on the balance wheel. So we make a mental note of where it should be, and if we line the stud of the balance spring near enough to where we made note of where the stud screw was on the balance rim, and we put the spring back on in that location, and we'll reassemble. Now, some watch repairers will make a little mark on the balance wheel when they first disassemble it, where the stud is, and that's fine. But if that step is forgotten, or you prefer not to mark the balance wheel, then this is the way to realign it. So now that's reassembled, you can see the impulse jewel is now somewhere between the two banking pins. Get a bit closer there. And if you agitate the wheel, it should come to rest between the two banking pins, and we want it as central as possible, and obviously you saw that was to the right a little. So I'm going to use a balance tack here. And so if I just place the cock onto the balance tack, and that will allow me to manipulate the collet of the hairspring. And what we want to do is turn it very, very slightly in the opposite direction to the misalignment. So the impulse jewel was slightly to the right of the banking pins. So I want to turn the collet anti-clockwise, and that will effectively move the impulse jewel over to the left, or in the opposite direction, obviously clockwise. This is very difficult to do when you're filming because the camera's slap bang on top of the wheel. I'm being a little bit clumsy here, but if you look carefully, this is how to do it. By the way, this is a scrap watch. I'm holding it with my fingers. You shouldn't really do that, but this is a scrapper. And so to be clear, what I'm actually using, just showing this again in slow motion, is the finest screwdriver, and I've inserted it into the slot of the collet, and I'm twisting the screwdriver in the direction I want it to go. So just to reiterate, if you turn the collet anti-clockwise, it will turn the impulse jewel clockwise effectively, and vice versa. So there you go. Once I've turned it very, very slightly, you can see now the impulse jewel is resting between the banking pins, and this will be very, very close, if not perfectly in beat. And obviously, you might need to keep removing the balance cock and adjusting it until you get it perfectly in beat.